All right, and joining us to further this discussion, former NTSB Director of Public and Family Affairs, Jamie Finch. Jamie, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
So the FAA is now coming under immense scrutiny after recent investigations revealed that they have quite this cozy relationship with Boeing, the makers of the doomed Ethiopian and Lion Air jets that downed. It turns out that the FAA left much of the plane's safety assessment to Boeing themselves. First, is this normal? And isn't this kind of letting the fox guard the henhouse?
Well, that's been an issue and a question that's been raised for many years now. But the truth of the matter is that the FAA and the government regulatory agencies just do not have the resources to be able to keep up with the industry, as you were talking about earlier. The designee program, which has been very successful and is a very good program, but the problem with it is once you lose you have to maintain the integrity of the program. Once you lose the integrity of the program, then you start cascading all of these questions and doubts and conspiracy theories that start coming from a situation like this. So
kind of turning it into a softball game versus a hardball.
Well, kind of, sort of, but I mean, but at the same time, it's not the FAA's fault, but at the same time, if they're not watching and if they're just parroting what's being said or told to them by Boeing, you get into this situation. Now, the fact of the matter is the Boeing 737 MAX, Boeing was under a lot of pressure to get a plane on into the market after Airbus was coming out with their Neo plane. And so this has really impacted, there was a lot of rush.
And this is obviously impacting consumer confidence. Then.
Absolutely, absolutely, and consumer confidence with Boeing itself, with the aviation industry, and with FAA is now up in question.
But now, pilots and aviation experts have claimed that they complained to Boeing about the plane's flight control software. How did this slip through the cracks, given that 7 years before Boeing released these MAX jetliners, and some FAA employees, along with DOT auditors, said that the FAA wasn't doing enough to hold Boeing accountable. So how does this slip through? Well,
I mean, that's where the fire of this is going to just.
Yeah, someone dropped the ball.
Someone dropped the ball, or they just have been complacent. We don't really know. Before we get ahead of ourselves, we need to be sure that we've got to let the investigation take care of itself and the process go. We are a country of laws, and we are going to follow the legal system and go through the process of finding out what this. But in the end, the court of public opinion here has been greatly damaged by them, and also the political impact and fallout of this. You're going to start seeing hearings on the Hill that are just going to be brutal. The industry is really preparing itself because it's not just a Boeing and an FAA problem. This is going to fall on
industry,
the entire industry across all the manufacturers.
Now, it took the U.S. To follow suit with Europe and a number of other countries before we grounded them here. It took President Trump calling for it himself. What took the FAA so long, or who controls that? Who decides that?
Well, the FAA should have stepped up and done something. But quite honestly, personally, I applaud the president for taking this bold move and declaring it, and they're going to be grounded. There's been a lot of fallout from that, and a lot of pushback, even from my friends. I've been having conversations with them when I've sided with the president on doing this, saying that he's politicized this and so forth. But quite honestly, the buck stops there. The buck stops at the president's desk, and so ultimately, while it's his administration and the FAA is part of his administration. Ultimate decision is his as president.
He certainly doesn't want this kind of tragedy falling on his watch. All right, Jamie Finch, thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us today.
Thank you.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.